السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. كل عام وأنتم بخير. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of your fasting and prayers and dua. Let's not forget in our dua our brothers in Palestine. While we celebrate and are happy and are excited, our brothers on one side are living in fear and on the other side are living in war. The shuhada bi'idhnillah, their numbers are increasing, and the violations against Muslims do not stop in Palestine, do not end in Palestine. It is in fact, they are in fact across the globe, stuck in between two ideologies. One, let's all be one, whatever that's supposed to mean. I gave birth recently to that can only be described as zandaqa, also known as tatbi'a, on one side, and on the other side, straight massacres and hatred. But we already were familiar with that other side. We already knew that other side. We're familiar with the other side. We know how to handle that other side. It's the side of tatbi' that is indeed extremely problematic. But this is part of the signs of the end of times, where the world needs to be divided into two parties: pure faith, pure kufr. With every event, with every fitna, with every problem that arises, we see these transformations happening. Some to a great extent and degree, others very marginal, very tiny acts and changes that lead back to the bigger picture. But the best thing that we can do, being out of the front lines, is uphold our duties where we are. From education, to teaching, to preaching, to debating. That's where fiqh becomes extremely important, because I can educate my people to hold firmly upon the truth. So our aqidah comes into play, where I can teach them what they need to believe in and cleanse their minds from nonsense that people are picking up every single day. Ilm al-kalam comes in here as well, where I defend the religion, whether it's against kuffar or innovators, or simply correcting a misconception or a misunderstanding. Hadith plays a role as well here, because that's how I protect the religion from made-up statements and ideologies. Ilm al-tafsir here becomes important, because I teach people how to understand the Quran. Because innovators will do what? Will change the meaning, will play with the meaning. And the list goes on. Logic has its place, even math. Even things that has biology will have its place. As students of knowledge, it's our job to utilize these tools to educate the scholars of Islam, all of them. They became role models in their fields, that even the kuffar themselves have surrendered themselves to the achievements of these scholars throughout the ages. They cannot deny it. Their advancements, if you want to call it advancements, technology is really not necessarily an advancement, but we'll call it an advancement for the sake of the argument, is nothing but the byproduct of the efforts of all the Muslim scholars that, if they were not invaded, massacred, and killed, it would have been the byproduct of all the efforts of all the scholars. And remember, 99% of scientists in the Muslim world were scholars. So it starts with you, student of knowledge. It starts with you. Your Shar'i achievement plus your dunya achievement. If you if you read through the books of Tarajum, you'll see it'll say, I studied fiqh with this scholar, and I studied medicine with that same scholar. I studied this with this scholar, and math with him as well. I studied this with this scholar, and how to dissect animals with this scholar, with the same scholar. So, the scholars of Islam always came with a Shar'i science that they excelled in, and also a dunya science that they excelled in, and they taught both. So as students of knowledge, that's your responsibility, to be that role model in deen and dunya. In deen and dunya. Most da'wah happen by role models. So in these moments that you see things happening, you must stop and ask yourself, am I a role model? Am I living up to the part that I should be? Am I setting an example? Because you were told to. You were told to do this. In other words, you might be questioned on Judgment Day. Oh, you knew Fulan. Sure, you weren't able to give them dawah, but were you a role model? Did you set an example? Or if an outsider would look, there's no difference between you and them. Ponder upon that during this Eid. Make dua for your brothers and sisters. It's an opportunity for us to check ourselves as well. We are on checkpoints, what they would call in Arabic thawr. I like to call it a checkpoint. Am I doing my job? Or am I failing? The Shafi'i madhab promotes the scholar to have both a deen and a dunya expertise, if you may, to the best of their ability. Some were able, some weren't. The Shafi'i madhab promotes being a role model. If you look through the books of Tabaqat, every single Shafi'i scholar was a role model in his community and in his society. Are you a role model for your community and your society?